Today we're going to paint pumpkins. I've been practicing in my sketchbook and I'm going to show you 2 different ways to paint pumpkins. So let's go. You're going to want to start with just a simple oval. It doesn't have to be fancy. And then you're going to start and take your second part of it a little higher. And then you're going to end it a little lower. So see, at the top it's a little higher and at the bottom it's a little lower. Drop in some darker colors to make sure it doesn't look too flat, give it some dimension, and just repeat. Again, you start higher and end lower at the bottom, and that's going to give it the pumpkin shape. Just play around with it. You know, you can fix your shapes as you're going along. You can switch your paper around, you know, change your orientation. You can go back over things, kind of spread it out so the color's not just hanging around there. And now you're going to work on a stem. Make your stem as funky as you would like it to be, and it doesn't matter if the color bleeds into the wet. That's a-okay. This is watercolor. That's the charm of it. So here is our very basic pumpkin, and you see the segments are white. We've left the white space between the segments. It's okay if your segments end up touching. Now you can go ahead and just put in some shadow on that stem. Just do what you want to do with your pumpkin. Darken it up in areas. Now this is the second way we can do our pumpkin. And you're going to start with just putting down some dirty water, just a light orangey wash. Make it any shape you want. You can make your pumpkin as funky as you like. But just put down that water, get it pretty wet, and make sure you get your shape the way you want it to be. And now I use a watercolor pencil here and just make a little circle at the top for the stem. And then make some indentations for your line. You can use this glass pen, you can use the back of a paintbrush, you can use whatever you want to make some lines indenting. As the lines go out toward the edge, they should be closer together, and the two in the middle should be a little bit farther apart. Now drop in some other colors, some darker oranges, you can go with some browns, and you're going to see that color seeps into the lines. You can leave a little bit of a highlight space for the sun, you know, a little reflection. Go over it with whatever browns or burnt siennas or whatever you have in your palette that you want to throw in there for a little bit of shading, dimension. Just play around and have fun with your pumpkin. And it doesn't matter if you end up covering up your little highlight space. You can go in and lift that color back out. Do some blending. Just have fun with your pumpkin here. Now when you go to the stem, that watercolor pencil should dissolve, or you can just use a regular graphite pencil, just do it very lightly. I just picked what I had on hand, which was light gray, but you could do a light orange or a light brown watercolor pencil. Fill in your stem, and I always tend to go darker around the base of the stem, so we're going to drop in some darker color there, and again make some shadows, give it a little bit of depth, a little bit of interest and dimension there. And you can already see the little light highlight part that I had created kind of is almost getting swallowed up, but we'll go ahead and fix that. Now if you want, and this is optional, you can put a little shadow down to give your pumpkin a little bit of more like realism, dimension, so it's not just hanging there in the middle of space. It's fun. You don't have to, but again, look at how a pumpkin sets. My neighbors have one on their doorstep, so I tended to look at what the shadow looked like. It's always a little darker right below the pumpkin, so drop in some more color, play with it, do what you want with your shading. Now I'm impatient, so I'm going to dry it a bit. And now I'm going to go in, because the color bled a little bit because I was too impatient and let it dry all the way. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some more shadow. And then I'm going to like blend it out a little bit. And you're like, oh no, you're messing it up. I am messing it up a little bit, but don't worry, we're gonna fix it. The good thing about watercolor is layers will fix your mistakes. So here I am just throwing in some more orange color. Blend it out a bit. And look, we covered up the highlight spot. Oh no, don't worry, we're gonna fix it. Now this is all still wet, so now I can go in and drop in even more color. It's kind of like a burnt sienna that I'm using. I think it's not exactly burnt sienna, but it's a brown orange. It's whatever I had in my palette. I'm not picky. And here you go, lift out your little highlight spot again with a dry brush. If you want to really make a highlight, you can use a paper towel. That'll pull up a lot more color. And here we have our pumpkin. I'm not really happy with that stem here, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to tweak it a bit more. I like to make funky stems. And since the sun's coming from the left, you see I'm putting a little highlight here. And there you go. Here's a comparison of our pumpkins.